Hi, I'm Alvaro Henrique. I teach at the Escola de Musica de Brasilia, and this music is not part of the technical course, which would be similar to the intermediate level as many other conservatories around the globe would rank this kind of music. But as in our material, it is an arrangement of a very old folk song. Usually people associate it with a very young age, with the early years of your childhood. So it's not the kind of music that when you learn to play, you feel proud to tell your family members, your friends, your co-workers that you are playing that kind of music. Then I decided to make an arrangement that featured the same technical difficulties, the technical challenges, and also the same musical challenges from a famous song from a local rock band that is very popular. I'm sure for you it must be the first time you hear this song, but believe me, for my students at the Escola de Musica de Brasilia, it is probably they know this song more than they know several Beatles songs. It's something that's very much into their ears. And you're invited to play that arrangement as well if you liked the music anyway. On the description of the video, I'll put a link so you can buy it. It will be a very cheap, very accessible price, especially for you that live abroad and are buying dollars or euros. For you it will be almost nothing, less than a can of Coke. So it's a very easy song, very easy arrangement. It's about just the first position, only natural notes, very easy rhythms, just two lines, one bass, one melody. The bass and the melody doesn't change along, so when the bass has some more movement, more melody, the melody is stopped, and when the melody is moving, the bass is just a repeated note. So it's very easy, and because it's so direct to the point, it's not worthy, as I did in other lessons, talk about musicology, history issues. Let's go straight to the technical things that you have to do to master that piece, and that will be enough. So at first we have the first challenge, that is to damp the bass. We begin with some D basses, then we change to a A. If the D is also ringing, the harmony will be confusing. We need to stop the D in order to make more clear the harmony change. So you just play the D, then when you're playing the A, okay? There are three ways to stop that bass. The first one is when you play the A, you play a rest stroke. So the thumb will rest on the D string, therefore stopping it. The other possibility is to play as you make a circle, but a little bit wider circle than you are used to. So you play it a wider circle. Okay? The third possibility is to play as if you were going to play another D. To master that movement, it's better if you first do play the other note. You play. And then, instead of playing, you just touch the string. But to master that movement, that would be the same as repeating notes, you should, at least for the first time or the very first attempts, to really play the second D. Okay? Which one is the best? Well, guitarists fight over that. They swear each others. So there are these three possibilities. Try each one for a while and then keep the one that works best for you. It's not really that important which one is the perfect, the best. And the important is how it sounds. If you damp the bass, if you stop the bass, that's perfect. Okay, then we have a little solo. In the original is a guitar solo played in harmonics in the original, but I wanted to make an easier version compatible to the arrangement we have originally on our material. Okay, then another, when the melody starts, which is here, then we have this counterpoint between melody and bass, and it's very important for you to make clear the melody always, even when the bass is moving. So although you must make the listener pay more attention to the basses when it's doing some counterpoint, it should never sound as strong as the melody. So you should play the melody something like that, and the bass, when they play the melody, should sound something like that. It's not exactly the same dynamics. Maybe depending on which device you're listening to me or the recording, it will be not as clear, but believe me, when the bass is playing the melodies, it shouldn't sound as strong as the melody does. And to make that difference clearer, there are two paths. One that deals more to your non-rational side of your brain, your intuition, is practice each line separately, separated, and then when you practice the melody, play with mezzo forte or forte dynamics, always playing stronger, something like that. And when you study separately the bass, then you play it softer. For example, that will help you create in your mind a mental image which the soprano is always more intense, louder than the bass. So if you make that mental image very clear, your hand intuitively will attempt to reach that mental image. So it will do whatever you already know how to do to achieve that result. Something else that you can try, especially if you're not, you depend more on your rational side, is when you're playing the melody, move the fingers a little bit more, make wider movements. Wider movements will lead to stronger notes without using any force, any muscle strength at all. And shorter movements will lead to piano, to softer sounds without changing the muscle strength at all. So when you play the melody, play wider movements, and when you play the bass, just shorter movement. Then it will sound softer. Okay? Oh, nice. Well, I jumped one side. I have to go back. In the end of the solo, there is this part where which we play D, E, F. You're here playing F with your finger 1, then you have to play C, D, and G. So it's so much easier to play with 2, 3, and 4. But then you have to play C. That stretch to playing the 1 here playing C can be a little challenging, but it's worth it because then you're going back to playing D with your 3rd finger, and then you have to play A. It's easier if you play here with your 1st finger, and then it's a long note. You can stop it. In the original recording, you're going to hear that it doesn't last that long, so you can reposition your hands on the 1st position, okay? So you can also, as an alternative fingering, you play C, you play D with 4th finger, here with the 4th finger, and then you change to the A with the 2nd finger, and you already reposition your hand on the 1st position. I don't like that option. I prefer the first one I told you. F, C, D, and A. I prefer that. But that other possibility exists, and if it works well for you, if it sounds better, do it. The important is how it sounds, okay? Nice. An important thing. There are several situations here which the melody is going to an open string but the bass isn't, or is going to an open string but later. For example, just in the last measures of the melody, there is the part that is C on the bass, and then C, A, C, C, B, open string, and still C on the bass, A, and then you're going A, and then you play the A open string. And it's tempting when you're playing, you're going to the open string on the melody. For example, you're playing C, A, C, C, now it's an open string, B. You also play the open string on the bass. It's very tempting to do that. Keep in mind to avoid this kind of reading mistakes. So keep okay. The rest of the piece is quite easy. There are no difficulties at all. Just practice a little bit and you're going to play. It's quite easy, especially for an intermediate level. It's quite refreshing comparing to the pieces we just learned and to some of the pieces that we are going to learn next. So how you should practice this piece? First, you should just play a note, relax, and the next note. Relax, and the next note. For example, when the melody starts, it should be something like which is, I usually call that pluck. I learned that from Franz Halles. He called pluck, as I learned from him. He was the one that invented. And it's very important not only to make sure you're reading perfectly, that you are avoiding some possible reading mistakes, like I just told you, going to an open string on the melody and also going to an open string on the bass as well. But it's also important for you to really be aware of your finger movements. Okay, it's important to, at least once, you really pay attention to the movement that each finger does. Okay, slowly, calmly. Okay, then you should play saying the note names. It will make by practicing saying the note names, you are making a stronger mental image of the piece. A mental image is when you close your eyes and remember playing the piece, that's the mental image. If you close your eyes and when you think you're playing that piece, all that you can think is where the fingers move, that's a very weak mental image because you're just playing fingerings. You're not playing music. To play music, you have to first remember the sound, okay? If you remember the fingerings and the sound, it's already better. But if you remember also the note names, the chord names, or some data from analyzing the music, then you have a stronger mental image, and you have in your mental image more musical information. You are conveying more musicality than just fingerality. Okay, so it's important to have in your mental image musical things, musical information, and especially in a piece that is so weak of it's not like a Bach fugue, okay? It's not, or like other pieces that we even took our time analyzing the harmony. It's pretty much the note names. So it's very important for you to know the note names. So practice telling the note names. E, A, C, H, G, F. For example, it doesn't even need to be in tune. It can be just speaking, okay? I just told in German. I learned that technique in Germany, so I told the note names in German. But doing your native idiom, some of you may not be native English speakers like I, so just tell the note names as you are more comfortable saying. Okay, then you should practice each line separately. Just the melody, for example. For example, and then just the accompaniment, just the bass. And so on. Then you can practice by excerpts, some measures only by takes, this piece is quite slow. It doesn't seem so, but it's quite slow. So you can practice a little bit slower. It would be nice, but it doesn't need to be so much lower. Something like 3/4 of the final speed would be good enough, and it won't be that slow. Then, if you play that perfectly, speeding that up will be very easy, very fast. This is the kind of music that would take you 1 week to 10 days to master, even doing what I said. And if you do what I said, which probably it's more things that you do when you practice normally, you will notice that you truly master the piece. You have a stronger mental image. By having a stronger mental image, you won't reach that trouble situation where you know that the piece is not perfect. You know that you should improve how you play that music, but you have no clue what to do. Because you are just thinking fingerings. So all you can do to improve your playing is improve your fingerings. But the fingerings are already perfect. So what to do next? That's why you need to have in your mental image musical information. Because then you think, what can I do next? Okay, the melody has this line. So what about if I reinforce that line by going, when I go up, I play a little bit louder. When I go down, I play a little bit softer. Would that be interesting? And then you're going to find very nice solutions. Have fun.